Well, a very good evening to everybody. Lovely to see you here. I see you've all been chatting away already. Hello to Karen. Hello to Liz. Thank you for thank you for putting the chairs out. Very, very important task. And hello to Mark. Hello Alexandra. Hello Carolyn. Hello Helen. Maybe I just already said hello to Helen. Hello everybody. Great. It's nice to see a big group of you here for our sort of last full rehearsal before I set you all on your way to go and record it. I hope I am not too quiet. Maybe I'll just turn myself up a tad. Hope that's better. Just check the piano is sounding okay. I am longing for the day when I'm allowed to let a piano tuner into this house, but it's just about holding up. And let's just check that the master track is sounding okay. Just about right. The marvellous Tom Herring in full voice as ever. He is tireless. So here we are. Like I say, we sort of end of our kind of official rehearsal run before you record, and then before we kind of gather together again after you've recorded to actually perform the piece. And having done the first and second halves sort of separately in our last two full rehearsals, this rehearsal I'm going to try and cover the whole thing. So we'll work in the slightly less detail, but try and get the kind of broad brush strokes together so you can start singing it with a little bit more fluency. I'll still mostly work in the sections, in the recording sections, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, because that's what you're going to be recording in. So for now, you don't really need to worry about keeping more than one section of the piece at a time in your head, which I hope makes it kind of a little bit easier when you're recording, because I know it can feel quite high pressure when you're recording. I'd say on that front, never worry about your recordings being perfect. In the same way that in a real performance, in a live performance, you would not worry about it singing every note perfectly either, because you're part of a big choir, of kind of supportive friends, singers who will always be there to cover you if you just need to take a breath, or you just, mess up a word or whatever. Don't, if you're recording, think, oh, I missed a word, I need to go all the way back. It really, really doesn't matter. It all comes out very well in the wash. As those of you who were in the Mahler 2 will remember, that was demanding music, but as a unit, as a whole choir, you sound fantastic together. No matter what the kind of little human errors there are left, right and centre, as there would always be. So don't worry about it. Just when you're recording, the main thing is to just enjoy yourselves and sing it musically, sing it like you mean it. That is what will come across really powerfully in the recording, as it does in all of your recordings. I mean, I hardly need to tell you that. Great. Hello everybody. Hello Paul and Nancy. Hello Dorothy. Hello Dave. Great. So I will, like I say, not work in too much detail today, but I'll just give a couple of kind of helpful reminders here and there of things that I think are probably worth kind of circling in the score, underlining, that kind of thing. Just when you're kind of in the moment of singing it through, you might want to just have a little aid memoir. But I'm mostly going to work on just phrasing and musicality, because like I say, that's what's going to make this piece kind of come to life, is giving it that kind of oomph. Because Beethoven was, he was specific for his time in notating exactly what he wanted here and there, but compared to someone like Mahler 100 years later, or even Mendelssohn, Brahms, it's not that specific, so you have to kind of get the music out of it. It doesn't do the work for you. You have to do the work. That's what's so rewarding about it, is that you have to really kind of commit and give it your musicianship, and you get a lot out of it. Oh, is it someone's birthday? Is it Rosalind's birthday? Happy birthday. Maybe we should sing happy birthday. Have I definitely got that right before I go and sing happy birthday to someone? Let's hope so. Well, I'm sure it's someone's birthday, but let's sing happy birthday to Rosalind. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rosalind. Happy birthday to you. Hope you've had a good day. And I hope you enjoy this rehearsal as a kind of nice way to finish off a birthday. I suppose, you know, this piece is kind of, we're singing it partly as part of Beethoven's delayed 250th birthday himself. So in a way, it's kind of Beethoven's birthday as well. All last year, and in many ways all of this year, because last year wasn't the best year for celebrating Beethoven. Okay, well, let's make sure you're comfortable, you've got a glass of water, etc., etc., etc. And we will start from the top, so to speak. There are about 3 or 4 minutes of music before the chorus comes in, which is the kind of orchestra's big introduction, where the orchestra kind of recalls what's happened in the rest of the symphony, the first 3 movements, kind of consolidates that, and then presents this finale as a kind of answer to it all. In fact, you know, in some ways, it's kind of an answer to Beethoven's whole career, this piece. He'd been wanting to set Schiller's Ode to Joy since basically the day it was published, all the way back when Beethoven was still living in Bonn, where he was born, in Germany, before he moved to Vienna. He'd come across this Ode to Joy, even before the French Revolution had happened, and he wanted to set it. And then, decades later, he finally got around to it. Much had changed in the world, as much has changed since. And so it's kind of a summation of all things Beethoven, this piece. That's why it's such a fulfilling thing to sing together. All right, well, let's do a little bit of warming up, and then we'll crack in. So we'll start on page 8, for those of you who've got the same score as me. For those of you who don't, it's where the first chorus entry is. There's the bass, baritone's little opening solo, and then the basses come in with the word Freude, and then everyone else comes in at figure D. So let's just start with a bit of just humming, going. Just open fifths, just sliding between them. So with me. Slide through every note in between. Big deep breath. Any octave, back to R. B major. Lovely. Okay, and let's do a couple, starting a little bit lower for those of you low register, of Bella, Bella Signora. Pick your octave, but, you know, if you want to explore your low register, we'll start off down here. So, Bella Signora. Bella Signora. Going up. Bella Signora. Bella Signora. Bella Signora. Bella Signora, Bella Signora, Bella Signora, Bella Signora. Great. Well done. Actually, one thing I should say about Beethoven's birthday, we don't actually know when Beethoven was born. One of the kind of crazy things about someone who's so astonishingly famous, that we don't actually know his exact birthday. We know the date he was baptized, and there are some kind of guesses people can make, but they don't know the day he was actually born. So, Rosalind, consider yourself lucky that you do actually know your own birthday. Although I suppose Beethoven would have known his own birthday. Maybe not, actually. That's an interesting question I never thought about. Anyway, page 8, first entry, Freude. Let's just begin by all of us singing Freude. And remember, strong weak. Lots of words in German are like that. Freude, Freude. So R and a Oi, Da. So with me. 1, 2, 1. Freude. That's it, yeah. Just, tons of elan, that first entry. And then when we all come in at letter D, like I say, sopranos, I've said this before, you're welcome to join in the altos here. Leave out the low notes if you want to. But why not join in as a kind of gentle warm-up to your own entry? And we all have this tune, Deine Zauber binden wieder. And this would be it'd be lovely if this could be quite kind of lilting. We're not into the kind of meat of the piece yet. So I know it's forte, but there are a lot of fortes in this piece, and they're all kind of different fortes. So this one's quite a light, quite a jolly one, we're just kind of easing into the piece at this point. So really, first beat stronger than the rest of them, and third beat also a little bit strong. Deine Zauber binden wieder. Like that. So with me. At D, letter D. 1, 2. Deinen Zauber binden wieder, was die Mutter streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Perfect. And the T on the downbeat of the bar after you finish singing. Great. Yeah, you really can't overdo the phrasing in this kind of music. It might feel, a bit exaggerated to you, but in a way, when you're in a big choir, little details get lost, so you need to exaggerate them more than if you're singing on your own. So really, Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mutter streng geteilt. Alle. Really go for it. And alle Menschen, accent that syncopated upbeat. It's a really great moment. It's like the first beat has just come in a beat early. It's one of those tricks that Beethoven loves to do, just to kind of invigorate the music, and it really does. Great. Okay, let's have a go at the next entry, and then we'll sort of sing all this through. So this is letter E, where the sopranos kind of officially come in. We all start on an E, and then the altos start on an A, tenors start on a C sharp, basses start on an A, and basses, you come in a crotchet early. You come in the crotchet before letter E on Ya. So really give that absolute wallop. Such an exciting moment. It's like you're impatient for the soloist to finish singing, and you say, yes, okay, we get the idea, and we agree. Ja, wer auch nur eine Seele. So, let's try this one. A little under tempo. This kind of speed. Me playing the wrong note. So that kind of speed, letter E. And again, go for the phrasing. Ja, wer auch nur eine Seele. So starting notes. Little under tempo. 1 and 2. Ja, ja, wer auch nur eine Seele. That's it, yeah, and with that lovely dynamic detail at the end where we diminuendo down to piano to illustrate the words. Der Stelle weinen sich auch diesen Bund. Anyone who doesn't love joy, basically, they can clear off, and so we kind of illustrate that clearing off with a little dim. So make sure you get an accent on und wär's nie gekonnt der Stelle, and then we diminuendo. Great. Let's try it once more at that speed, and then, like I said, we'll go back to the beginning and just sing through that section with the backing track and with the prose singers. So, letter E, these are your notes. So, basses, give it the beans on that upbeat, and then everyone else, same, but on the downbeat. 1, 2, ja, ja, wer auch nur. Well done. And that's pretty much up to full speed. So let's give it a go with the backing track. And I will try and this time, this rehearsal, I'll try and keep a close eye on the chat. So if you have questions, just shout and I'll try and answer them straight away. I can't promise to answer everything, but I will do my very, very best. Okay, so back to page 8, the very, very first choral entry. So this is the end of Tom's opening peroration. Okay, here we go.
Schöne Götterfunkentochter aus Elysium, wir betreten feuertrunken himmlische dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber binden wieder fast die Modestränge.
Okay, ready. Letter D coming up. Phrasing. 1, 2.
Deine Zauber binden wieder fast die Modestränge. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt.
Brilliant. And then sit back and listen to the soloists.
Gelungen eines Freundes Freund zu sein, wer ein holdes Weib erlungen, mische seinen Jubel ein, ja, wer auch reine Seele sein nimmt auf dem Himmel.
Okay, ready basses, give this entry the beans. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Ja, wer auch nur eine Seele sein nimmt auf dem Erdengrund, und wer niederkommt, der Stiere weinen sich aus diesem Mund.
That's it. Brilliant. Yeah, bags of character, that entry. You know, it's a real joyous forte. Not too loud, but so much energy behind it. Well done. Really, really starting to click. I've seen someone's making a point about the letters. There are different kinds of letters, which I know is confusing, trying to compensate for the lack of bar numbers. There's the black letters, which are the ones I'll mostly refer to, which are the kind of rehearsal letters, and then there are the green letters in the marked up score, which are our recording sections. So, going on, just from where we finished, there's black letter F, which is where the soloists kind of start to get stuck into this kind of quaver stuff that Beethoven was particularly keen on, and which really gives us all a run for our money. And that leads up to black letter G, which is on page 15 of the marked up score. I think let's just do this once to La, letter G, black letter G, just to remind ourselves what the notes are here, because they're quite tough. They're your starting notes. So this kind of speed. That kind of speed. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to La. La, 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 la. Well done. Just to remind ourselves, I would often practice that to begin with, just to La, just so you're really on top of the notes, because the notes are the one thing you don't want to have to think about here, because there are a lot of words to squeeze out as well. So just make sure, or vice versa, you're really confident with either the words or the notes, so you don't need to worry about one of them. If you're trying to think about both at the same time, you have to be pretty superhuman to be able to nail it. Okay, let's try it, same speed, with words and notes. So, still that speed. Black letter G. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And T on the fourth crotchet of that last bar. Well done. Great. And I can't get too much of Kerub steht forgot. That needs to be so charismatic, those last two bars, because they really then kind of usher us in to Und der Kerub steht forgot. Such an exciting moment. Okay, let's try it with the backing track then. And we'll just speed it up a little bit. Where are we? Okay. Still at 75% speed, so not all the way there yet. So, this is a few bars before our entry at letter G. I'll bring you in at letter G. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Well done. It's one of the trickiest bits, but it goes by in a flash. As I've said before, just stay supple. Don't worry about singing it too loudly. Großer gab sie uns und Reben einen Freund geprüft im Tod voll. Just kind of try and just kind of glide over it. Keep it kind of buoyant. And focus on the words. And, if all else fails, give me a whopping great Kerub steht forgot. Let's just try that very last phrase. Und der Kerub steht forgot. That's how it goes. So from und. There's your notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Und der Kerub steht forgot. Great, yeah. Bit faster than that. That kind of speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. That's it, yeah. And then we're kind of on fairly safe territory. The next bit is high octane, but the notes are much, much easier. Okay, let's try it. Don't worry if you don't get it perfect, but let's try from letter G at full tempo. Because we've got to do it sometime. Okay, so that's just black letter F. So you get quite a long break before your entry. I'll bring you in at letter G. Just follow the solo bass line. 1 ah. One, two. Okay, good effort. Very, very good effort. Whew. Like I say, at least after all those quavers, which don't last very long, you're into solid minim territory. On the master track, they're perhaps not as dry as I would like them to be, these minims, so go even further than what you hear. Really, und der Kerub. Mary has a question. Unable to fit in all the words and notes in from G. Yeah. Just don't worry about it. Really don't worry about it. It's very much a kind of effect moment. No one is going to hear every note anyway, even if you do sing them right, and most people don't. So just make sure you can get the words and particularly the consonants out. Practice just singing it just with the consonants, even k, s, k, si, uns, und, re, pun. that kind of thing, so you know what the outline is, and then just sing the words. Küsse gab sie uns und Reben. Because if you don't have the quavers in there, then the words you realise are not actually that fast, even at that full tempo. Küsse gab sie uns und Reben. And then you just need to... Küsse gab sie uns und Reben, einen Freund geprüft im Tod. You just need to just glide over the notes. Don't worry about each individual one. Like I say, it's quite repetitive. It's all around the same area. I know I'm just playing the soprano part, but it's all quite similar. So don't fret about it too much. Make sure you can sing the words fluently, and then only add the notes when you don't let the notes disrupt singing the words fluently. That's what I would say. Yeah, and practice it 75%. That, honestly, slow practice is the way to go. There's no point practicing faster than you can sing it, because then you just practice singing it wrong. Okay, so these minims, und der Cherub, really, und der Cherub steht vor Gott. And there, everyone except the altos, Gott, on the fourth beat. Just give me that beginning of und der Cherub, and really breathless with excitement. 1, 2, und der Cherub steht vor Gott, steht vor Gott. That's the idea. Yeah, really muscular. And then we take our time going into for God. Great. Okay. I think we can leave that bit behind. I might come back to that bit at the end, but let's keep going. Altos and sops, take a breather or sing along with us as we do this lovely tenor and bass bit on page 20 between letters I and K, black letters I and K. It's green letter C is the third section we record. So page 20. And it's this kind of real kind of leather shorts, thigh slapping music. He liked to drink, did Beethoven. He had a number of favourite taverns in Vienna that he would frequent. So I think perhaps this is not dissimilar to the kind of music he might have heard. And you can still hear today in Vienna, if you go to some of the beer halls, you still get brass bands and male voice choirs singing this kind of stuff. Okay, tenors and basses. Let's just give it a go. The main thing in this section is short crotchets, long dotted crotchets. Laufet, Brüder, eure Bahn freudig, wie ein Held zum Siegen, wie ein Held. Just like that. Okay. This is the tenor solo that comes beforehand. So this is black letter I. I completely stopped concentrating and didn't bring you in. Okay. I was looking at the chat and just don't panic about the difficult stuff. Really don't panic. You're here to enjoy yourselves, you know. Even if you just don't want to record a section, that's partly why I did it in sections, because if there's one bit that you just don't get on with, you don't need to record it. Just sing it in the performances or whatever. But like I say, it really doesn't need to be perfect. The main thing that I get from you guys when you send me your recordings is the kind of commitment and enthusiasm in your singing. That is what makes the recording come alive. So don't worry about if you don't get every word and every note. I promise you. Okay, once again, I'll try and bring you in now this time, gents. So going into page 20. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's it. It's very short, this section. So like I say, short and long notes are really important. And when we come in with these freudig, 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 just like when we sang Freude at the beginning, just give it bom, bom, ra, a really strong rolled R. And remember, the second time we sing wie ein Held, those are short as well, even though it's not written as such. Great, well done. Then you get this amazing orchestral passage, which is enough to really get your kind of your heart rate up. It certainly does for the players, that's for sure. And then that brings us to our entry at black letter M. Freude schöne Götterfunken Tochter aus Elysium. The big central chorus of this movement, where really, after kind of lots of slightly kind of disparate sections, we suddenly go for it, all guns blazing, with this amazing tune, with the orchestra kind of still furiously going underneath us. It's such an exciting moment. So, let's try it with the backing track, and we'll start it a little under tempo to begin with. Okay, so this is just before letter M. Black letter M. Little echo of the tune in D minor. Okay, getting ready. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Freude schöner Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium, wir betreten feuertrunken himmlische dein Heiligtum, deine Zauberwinde wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt, alle Menschen werden blühen, vor dein sanfter Flügel weit, deine Zauberwinde wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt, alle Menschen werden blühen, vor dein sanfter Flügel weit.
Well done. Yeah, sounds a bit strange at that tempo, really, doesn't it? Great. Okay, in a second we'll try that at full speed. So there are really only two things I would say about this section, and that is, give it your heart and soul, and phrase it. Freude schöne Götterfunken Tochter aus Elysium. Beethoven's written in a lot of the tops of the phrases with these sforzatos, so go for those, but there are sort of natural ones as well. Like I say, the very first few bars, Freude schöne Götterfunken, that's obviously where we go to. We go to the third bar. It's usually the odd-numbered bars that we should phrase to. So it shouldn't be that all notes are equal. Very much in this music, all notes are not equal. Some notes are absolutely more equal than others. So practice singing it without the notes, and just singing the words and getting the phrasing in. Himmlische dein Heiligtum. Really go for it. And in the recording, in the backing track, they're quite kind of legato about it. I think really this music needs to be much more feisty than that. Freude schöne Götterfunken. So almost separated. Not quite separated, but really so much bounce in the notes. Like I say, you cannot overdo the phrasing in this piece. So let's just try it. Just the words, and give it that bounce in every note, and give it the emphasis in the right place. So going from the beginning, Freude at letter M, just the words with all the phrasing you've got. So 2 bars, 1, 2, 1, 2. Freude schöne Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium, wir betreten feuertrunken himmlische dein Heiligtum, Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Great. Yeah, it's a really useful way of practicing that, because it gives you the real structure of the notes and the phrasing onto which you can kind of drape the notes. So let's try it with the backing track at full speed. See how it goes. But whatever you do, give it that musical shape. Letter M. To give your starting notes. There we go. And
Freude, schöne Götter, Funken durch das Elysium. Wir betreten Feuer, trunken himmlische dein Heiligtum. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt.
great, well done. Very, very, very good job. Yeah, it makes all the difference when you sing it like that. So really, bouncy, dotted crotchets, Mode streng geteilt, and go for the accents, go for the phrasing. Those are the two main things that I would love to hear in that passage. It's such a treat when I get to hear you singing back in the recordings you send me. Okay, that takes us on. Seid umschlungen. So there's a Z for the S and a T for the D. Seid umschlungen Millionen. Be embraced, ye millions. Diesen Kuss der ganzen Welt. This kiss is for the whole world. This bit's lovely and slow, so you can really kind of phrasing in a different way, you know, really feel the ebb and flow of the music, kind of tension and release. That's what Beethoven was a master of, really. One great moment being, altos, you'll know which bit I mean. That bit at the top of page 30 where we get that clash. That is a classic example of tension and release, and then tension, release. Wonderful music. Great. Okay, let's just give this bit a sing. I think actually we can get all the way up to page 34. Let's just see how it's feeling, and then I'll make a couple of kind of comments just to remind us how it feels. But this bit is a bit that I think we're pretty good at. So to begin with, on page 29, Andante maestoso, so really rich and hearty, loads of weight. Seid umschlungen. Separate those. Okay. beefy. Gorgeous. Okay, ready for the orchestra to give you your notes? Here's the chord. Great, well done. Isn't that just the most magical section? In fact, really the hardest thing is once you've sung that, you need to snap out of it and sing the next bit when you just want to kind of just hold that moment forever, which is the idea. We're talking about, you know, the Almighty Father residing above the stars, and that's exactly where you end up by the end, sort of emotionally, I think. Well done. Yeah, Dorothy makes a good point. It's you know, I wouldn't really recommend singing that whole section slowly. You know, it's slow enough, I think, that you can probably keep a handle on it. If anything, you know, if you want to sing it through a little bit faster, that might help orientate yourselves. Because sometimes when music is very slow, it's easy to lose track of where we are in the bar. But you have the recording tracks with video of me conducting, which I hope will be more of a help than a hindrance. Great. Okay. A couple of things just to note before we go on. Just going back to the very beginning of that section, Andante maestoso, page 29. He hasn't always written in the staccato dots where they're kind of assumed. So, in the third bar of the second line of page 29, the second bar that the women sing, Seid umschlungen. They don't do it in the master track either because it's not written, but I would like schlungen to be separated. So please write that in. It's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the 10th bar of that page, where the women sing Seid umschlungen. Everyone please separate those minims, just like the lower voices do the first time round. The other thing to say is on page 32, Adagio ma non troppo, ma devoto, where we sing Sturt nie da. There's lots to think about here. Double hairpin on Sturt, and then separated nie da. So double hairpin and then separated to really create this kind of magical atmosphere. And then the crescendos that I've talked about before. And tenors, I can't get too much of do den Schöpfer when you come in a crotchet early on the word den Schöpfer. That's just wonderful. So really give that all you've got. Altos, you do the same thing at the fortissimo at the top of page 33, where you go Bernstein. Everyone else just goes Bernstein, and you go Bernstein. So loads of that, and then a really sustained pianissimo for the last bit. Great, but you're singing it wonderfully, and it will be wonderful in the recording. I have no doubt. I saw a question. What happens? Malcolm says, what happens at the April rehearsals after we've sent in our recordings? Well, so these rehearsals are to prepare you for recording it, and of course, obviously, all the rehearsal basically is on the same music, etc. But I'm working in sections here because these are the sections you'll record. In the April rehearsals, after you've recorded, before we perform it, so to speak, that's when we'll sing it through in longer sections. We'll sing the whole piece through just to kind of get the sense of the whole flow of the thing, because that's what you'll do in the performances. When you'll hear yourselves, your recorded selves singing back, and you sing along. So this is why in these rehearsals we're kind of working on the detail for recording, and then we'll work on the sweep of the thing in April. Okay, so the next section, which is perhaps alongside the quavery bit, the toughest bit, and a bit longer as well. This one is just one that, it's quite fun to sing at slower tempo. So just on your own, have a good time. Just sing it through a couple of times at a slow speed, pausing, going back, and so on and so forth until you're really comfortable with it. The main thing from my perspective is phrasing. So, Zeitumschlungen Millionen diesen Kuss der ganzen Welt. That kind of phrasing. Same in the sopranos when you get this melody. Freude, schöne Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium, wir betreten feuertrunken, himmlische dein Heiligtum. Really yum ta tum ta tum. We all get the same tunes over and over again. Altos, watch out, the moment I'm going to say wir betreten dein Heiligtum. That's just one to just be able to sing. If you're walking down the street and someone said, sing me that bit of Beethoven, you can just do it like that without thinking about it. So when you come to it, you think, oh, I can nail this bit. I can sing this bit so much better than all the easy bits because I've practiced it loads. It'll be really satisfying, I promise. There are a couple of difficult notes and jumps in this bit. You'll know what they are by now, so I'm not going to go over them. Let's just have a sing through and, keep track of which bits you find easier, which bits you find more difficult. And you can just bit by bit iron them out. But it's as much about the bigger picture as it is about the smaller picture in this bit. So page 34 in my score, Allegro Energico, where the altos come in Zeit on that D, and the sopranos come in Freude, and then the tenors and basses come in a bit later. So just tons of swagger. You'll just hear the very end of the previous bit. Okay. 75% speed. 2, 1. Tenors. tenors. Great job, well done. Yeah, it's really, really getting there. I've said before, that last pause, remember in the master track, the upper voices come in earlier than, come off earlier than I would like them to. So sing with the lower voices until the very end. And you hear me say and off in it as well. And in the conducting track, you'll see me bring you off. So sing at its full length and just gently hum the N at the end as well. Glorious. Well done. You know, it is only 25% faster than that in the real thing, so it's not that much faster than that. So don't worry about it too much. The main thing, like I say, is give it loads of swagger. And also what's nice about it, because it's counterpoint, which means that we're all singing at different times with different words and different melodies. Every time you have an entry after a rest, make your present known, you know? A lot of the time you just go Freude, just to say, joy. That's what this is all about. But then often, you know, there's just to sing a random tenor entry. There's a break, and then you go, Wir betreten dein Haus. So just make sure the very beginning is really strong. Wir betreten dein. So we think, oh, there are the tenors. And then, you know, a couple of bars later, the basses go, Diesen Kuss der Gans. So likewise, make sure we notice, which I'm sure you'll have no trouble with. It really gives it bags of character, this, and it gives the kind of stereo surround sound effect of just voices singing everywhere. Okay, great. I'll leave you to kind of rehearse that at that speed as much as you like until you're confident with it. Like I say, it's kind of fun at that speed, so it's enjoyable to practice. Okay, let's go ahead then to letter S, which is our next entry. Which basically takes us to the end of the piece. So, two things to worry about at letter S, black letter S. It's really hushed to begin with. Deine Zauber bin dann. Then it crescendos. Wieder bin dann, wieder was die Mode. So really give it so much for that crescendo. And then watch out for the Lamentation. So one Lamentation. We've done that a lot now, so I hope it's starting to click. Let's give it a go at full speed, dare I say it, and we'll see how it goes. So this is approaching letter S, and I'll bring you in. This is just about before where the green letter G is, but I'll bring you in at letter S. One, two, one, two. One, two, one. Very good. 1, 2, 1, 2. One, two, 1, 2, 1. Great. Well done. That's all there is to that little section. And I just want, a bit like if someone was to ask you singing down the street, with the previous bit, for this Lamention, I want you never to be able to sing this ever again without hearing me in your ear going 1, 2, 1, Lamention. Because again, it's like that tricky bit in the altos earlier, where you need to learn the difficult bits so that you can sing them with less effort than the easy bits, and then you can just nail them. Okay, great. So that's that little section. Just watch out for the mention when we suddenly slow down as well. It's like we kind of go into zero gravity. And just so much gorgeous phrasing in this slow stuff on page 51. Again, there's not much detail written in the music, but you know, so clearly there's so much music to be squeezed out of it. So give it all you've got musically there. You know, it's piano, but it's so juicy. Beethoven's kind of romantic side rather than Beethoven's classical side. Okay, and that really does take us to the final section, which is on page 55. Poco allegro stringendo il tempo sempre più allegro. Basically, fast, getting faster, always faster. Which is enough to strike terror into any singer's heart. It's fast, but it's quite repetitive and it's quite kind of stationary, this last bit, you know. Seidumschlungen Millionen diesen Kuss der ganzen Welt. And then the same thing. Der ganzen Welt. And then Brüder. That's easy. And then it repeats. Brüder Sternenzelt muss ein Lieber. And watch the pronunciation someone pointed out. Sternenzelt. Zelt. It's not a Z, it's a Z. Sternenzelt. Like a TS. Important to get that one right. So there's quite a lot of repetition in this. And then like before, after all the fast stuff, once we get to page 58, Diesen Kuss, we're in glorious minims. I mean, they're fast minims, but we're quite static in the notes there. So it's not as difficult as it might seem. And then our favourite bit, Ganzen, for the altos, tenors and basses. Just sing that until you until you can just do it at the drop of a hat. Okay. Let's just give this a go at 75% speed. See how it goes. So we'll start at the stringendo on page 55. Here we go. One, two, 1, 2.
Sei umschlungen Millionen diesen Kuss der ganzen Welt, der ganzen Welt. Brüder, ihr Sterne selbst und sein lieber Vater wohnen, mein lieber Vater wohnen. Sei umschlungen.
Go for the words.
Sei umschlungen diesen Kuss der ganzen Welt, der ganze Welt, der ganze Welt. Diesen Kuss der ganzen Welt, der ganze Welt, der ganze, ganze Welt, die ganze Welt. Freude, Freude, stille Götterfunken, stille Götterfunken. Tag der Auserlesung.
And well done. Great. Again, it's only 25% faster than that. I've seen a very important question from Dorothy, which I had not noticed. I think I'd sort of subconsciously noticed. Lucy sings Freude schöner. Let me make a note. I will have a look. There's a scan of Beethoven's manuscript of this piece. So I'm not sure whether a G or an E is right in the sopranos there. So I will get back to you on that. I'll get Mark to send an email around to confirm the answer. I would say, what's the harmony? Either could be correct. Okay. Well, there we go. That's the last section. Again, like the penultimate section, sing it at 75% until you're really confident singing it 100%. And if you want to kind of go halfway, sing it at 100% with just the notes, and then sing it at 100% with just the words, and then put 2 and 2 together. If you're not quite ready to do the jump straight from 75 to 100, that's the way to kind of find a middle ground. And on page 58, I would make a special request. Diesen Kuss der ganzen Welt. Those minims, again, just throw them into the air. Diesen Kuss der. The last thing I want there is Diesen Kuss der. It would sound very unnatural. So just bam, bam, bam. Loads of kind of energy and lightness in that. Okay, as a little treat, let's go back to the very beginning, which is on page, just to finish off, page 8, green letter A, and let's just have a little go with the orchestra and all the soloists and the pro voices, just as a little fun kind of sing along, because we can do these first couple of bits. So we'll go up to I think we'll go up to page 17, the big pause on the word Gott. We'll go up to there. So page 8 to 17 with the orchestra. It's a little bit, the reason I give you the piano and the pro singers to record with is because you'll hear it's quite hard to hear pro singers too clearly when there's an orchestra behind. But you know this bit quite well, and I think it'd just be a bit of fun. So let's sing it with the orchestra. We'll do more singing with the orchestra just before the performance itself. So here we go, page 8, going up to your first entry. Remember, really phrase it. 1, 2, 1, 2. Soloists. Okay, basses, this is your moment coming up. 1, 2, 1, 2. How about that? Isn't that amazing singing along with the orchestra? It really, God, doesn't it? I find it just gives me so much more energy. Somehow there's just, I guess there are more people in the room, really, aren't there? There are, yeah, I think about 60 different players in that. So you're really suddenly, you're in big company and you're in good company. Well, there we go. You can just imagine what it's going to sound like with all of you as well singing along. It's going to be an absolute riot. So I hope that gives you just a little bit of kind of bit of a taster of how much fun it's going to be. Enjoy recording. Like I say, just don't worry about the details here and there. You know, it's a piece about universality. It's a piece about everyone joining in and singing together. So, you know, if you just miss a bit here and there, it's just not a problem because someone else will cover it, I'm sure. So just enjoy yourselves. Go for the music. You know, watch these rehearsals back if you can't quite remember what I've said about phrasing and that kind of thing, because if you can get those kind of details in, it will make it come to life so much. And it's going to be a really, really wonderful performance. So thank you, everybody. It's been such a great few weeks. I mean, how long is it? When did we start? I think we started, was it the last day of January we started? Seems a long way away. And here we are on the last day of February, so it's been a great few weeks of rehearsing this piece with you. It's just such glorious music. Feel free to sing along to the master tracks, sing along to them at a slower tempo. I think you can sing along with just your voice and with your voice plus the others in another ear. Sing along to recordings. It won't be quite the same speeds, of course, but it gives you a kind of different perspective on the piece. Sing it slowly, sing it fast, sing it with just the words, sing it with just the notes. And always remember the musicality. That's really the impression I would like to leave you with. So, thank you. You can tell Mark that we had a good rehearsal. You can tell him we didn't, as soon as he left the room, go and slope off down to the pub, as you might do in real life. But enjoy the rest of your evenings, and I will see you on the other side as we put this together for the performance. If you have any questions when you're recording, any worries and that kind of thing, you can always email Mark. He'll pass it on to me and I will get back to you. So thank you very much, and good night, everybody.